Malaysia is a 13-state federation in Southeast Asia. 11 are located on the Western Peninsula and 2 in the east on the island of Borneo. Our adventure is centered on the peninsula in the China Sea and begins in a small village called Pantai Sabak in the state of Kelantan. At sunrise, the young Zarupi is already at work. He's going fishing with his 2 brothers, father, grandfather and uncle. Today is a crucial day because the fishing season is coming to an end and the last few days have not been very successful. Zarupi's father, Yaqub, started fishing at the age of 12. He's now 47. His brightly colored boat with its carved bow was given to him by his father. Yaqub and Zarupi's family form part of a team that consists of 30 fishermen and 5 boats. The fishermen of Sabak are famous in Malaysia for their team spirit and values of sharing and helping one another. This particular spirit in Malaysia is called gotong royong. The pole in the water reveals the presence of an artificial reef. The reef was immersed a few years ago, several kilometers from the coast. It has developed corals and fish colonies of various sizes and species. Malaysia has since immersed nearly 300 such artificial reefs along its coasts. The fishermen of Sabak benefit from them and have devised a unique method of fishing the Selar Kuning, a small fish resembling the mackerel. They start by testing the quantity of Selar Kuning using a line with numerous hooks called an Apollo. When the test is conclusive, fishing can begin. Four of the 5 boats lower a net several hundred meters in length to a depth of 30 to 40 meters at some distance from the reef. The 5th boat, the flagship, is roped to the others and heads for the reef. The next step involves dropping a series of palm tree branches into the water, weighed down by stones. They gradually descend towards the bottom of the reef. These branches are in fact a trap that the Malaysians call an unjang. Two divers jump into action. Their role is to direct the movement of the fish towards the branches. They attract the more curious by tapping on the water. This will show them that there are more below. Using the ropes, the flagship is gradually pulled in by hand towards the other boats. Without these ropes, the strong currents would quickly separate them. The branches, with their population of fish, are gradually brought towards the net. When the divers are sure that the fish are in place, they pass on the word. There is very little time before the tide comes in and the currents change. The team on the flagship quickly take up the branches from the water and signal to the others to pull up the net. They must hurry from the center of the fishing zone to avoid their propeller getting caught in the net. The net is drawn in by the fishermen of the 4 boats who urge each other on. Inch by inch, they reduce the perimeter, pitting their strength against the current. The last catch was disappointing. With barely 5 or 6 racks for each boat, it was certainly nothing to write home about for our 30 sailors. For the the last few meters, the net is held by just 2 boats, while the other 3 wait behind to see the result. One after the other, the baskets are hoisted out of the net. The still wriggling fish are divided up equally among the 5 boats and thrown into the racks. A little ice is added to preserve the fish until they return to port. The first catch is rather good. Each boat fills 2 racks. The fishermen then decide to go on and try their luck on another reef. The sea is calm and the weather has cleared. Moored to a pylon above the reef, the flagship finds a particularly large school of fish. The same procedure is quickly carried out. The branches of the yunjiang are thrown in and then pulled out again. The net can once again be raised. This time, it's extremely heavy. The underwater spectacle is riveting. Hundreds and thousands of fish are trapped, and the sea oozes with a multitude of shimmering scales. It is only now that the fishermen realize how many they've caught. The net is a white carpet of silver-plated fish. The group leader gladly distributes the baskets. An additional 25 racks are added to the previous 10. Today's catch is exceptional. Nearly a ton of fish for 5 boats in just one morning. It is past midday. Yaqub and his sons head for port. The boats line up in the small channel that leads to the port of Sabak. They are laden with racks of fish, particularly Selar Kuning. The fish are unloaded and sorted by Yaqub, his wife and sons. They will then be sold at the market in Kota Baru, the neighboring city.
In all, we are 6 in the family to go fishing every morning. And when we return, we divide our earnings. The more boats we work with, the more fish we bring back, and the more money we earn. Like all fishermen here, we do not fish during the monsoon season between November, December to February, March. Therefore, for 3 months, we must live without any income.
And is it too dangerous to go out to sea during the monsoon season?
It is not only dangerous, it's prohibited. You can be arrested. I wouldn't take the risk either. The sea is dangerous during the monsoon. Yes, it is dangerous. The boat is likely to capsize, the sailors can fall into the water, and I would end up in prison. Yes, in prison. Fishing is dangerous here. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was chased by a shark while I was in the water. Yes, it was a close call. Nothing serious has happened up until now. And I hope it stays that way.
Deep in the jungle at Tasik Kenyir, in the state of Pahang, one can meet the oldest inhabitants of the Malaysian peninsula. 1,400 Aborigines from the ethnic group Semalai. Tasik Kenyir is a labyrinth of rivers and lakes covering almost 7,000 hectares. Here, vegetation and wildlife are both vast and diverse. There are approximately 200 species of birds and nearly 100 species of mammals and reptiles. Kok, his wife Guya and their family live off the natural environment, the forest and its rubber trees, the river and its fish. Today they are going fishing with their daughter-in-law, Janeri, and their grandson, Bin. The rivers and lakes of Kenyir are populated by more than 90 different species of fish. Most are catfish, carp, barbions, hampalas, and other tomans. Kok fishes with a spear on the edge of the bank. After several rain showers, the water level has quickly risen, making fishing difficult and unpredictable. Kok finds a small catfish in the grasses. He lances it with a blow from his spear. Kok takes a bamboo trap from the water, which he left there a few days ago. As he takes out the fish, Guya cuts a piece of yam. Continuing downstream, the 4 fishermen check the other fish traps placed there a few days ago. In Malaysia, this is known as bubu. The fish are attracted by pieces of yam placed in the trap. One by one, the fish are removed and the yam is either put back or replaced if necessary. Today is a day for catfish. Here are two more. The trap is then returned to the river. The young bin will not be outdone. He proudly brings his mother his boo-boo, containing a small fish. Depending on the season, the samalai fish for crabs or turtles. They must always be wary of the snakes and crocodiles that populate the lakes, swamps and rivers of Tasik Kenyir. For Guya, fishing always ends with a bathe in the river. At the end of a peaceful afternoon, she brings fish back to her family to accompany the evening meal. On the east coast of the peninsula, there is much to offer visitors passing through the island of Redang, in the state of Terengganu. The people of Redang still live largely from fishing. They have much improved the ancestral technique of trapping that we have just seen with the samalai of Tasik Kenyir. Here, they are also called boo-boos. Mohammed Nordin and his two accomplices left 10 boo-boos 40 meters deep a few days ago near Sharks Island. Today, they've come to collect them. Once the boo-boo is emptied, it is inspected and, if necessary, repaired, then replaced on the seabed. It is signalled to the owners by a buoy. The seabed is made up of sand, rock and coral. It is rich with a wide variety of snappers, cobias, trevally, carp, tuna, mackerel, as well as sharks and giant jellyfish.
Slowly. Slowly. Okay. Mesin.
The fish enter through the funnel-shaped opening on the side of the large trap. Once inside, attracted by smaller fish or seaweed, they have little chance of escape. Depending on the fish, Malaysians build several types of boo-boos with various sizes and openings, using wood, bamboo, cords and wire. The 3 crew members work with precision. The currents around the island make it difficult to carry out their task, as the cages can be wedged between rocks or coral on the seabed. Today, the catch was good. Mohammed is happy. The boo-boos are returned to the depths for a few more days. Fish is the source of protein preferred by Malaysians, Muslims drawn towards the sea. They consume nearly 50 kilos per annum per capita. 1.5 million tons of fish and seafood are caught in Malaysia each year. An amazing scene takes place every morning at Besara, close to Kuantan. When the boats return with fresh anchovy, it is necessary to quickly unload and bring them to the drying oven. With this in mind, the villagers use 2 buffaloes. Docile and benevolent, they fear neither salt water nor corrosion. The anchovies are carefully boiled and drained. Then they are laid out in front of the village on large bamboos, where they are dried for several days. River, sea and fishing are the essence of life on the peninsula. Malaysia is a country of contrasts. While rich in traditions, it is also resolutely drawn towards modernity. Today, Tasik Kenyir best represents Malaysia and the importance which Malaysian people have given to sport fishing. 55 kilometers from Kuala Terengganu, Kenyir is a tentacular lake of 260,000 hectares and 340 islands. It was created in 1985 by the construction of the dam which bears the same name. Kenyir is the largest artificial lake in Southeast Asia. At the heart of this exceptional environment, Malaysians come to relax for the weekend and devote themselves to a variety of water and outdoor activities. Edrin and his friends Rahim and Nazmi go sport fishing. Today, they take us deep into the jungle at Taman Negara to look for the finest species in Kenyir, the toman, the sebarao, and the kela. While heading towards Taman Negara, they come across a remarkable houseboat, where it's possible for 10 fishermen to work day and night, changing sites at will. The more we delve deeper into the meanders of the lake, the more striking the landscape becomes. Kenyir is a fisherman's paradise. We finally arrive at the Taman Negara National Park on the south side of the lake, a sector where it remains wild yet preserved. The jungle here is 40 million years old. In this particular season, it is necessary to go fishing upstream, where 40 rivers feed into the lake. Edrin and Nazmi thus continue on in a small boat, which is less cumbersome than a speedboat and a lot more discreet when approaching species that are easily frightened. First, they try their luck in the middle of a submerged forest, often regarded as the best fishing site, as the roots can offer a multitude of hideouts. They have no success, so our friends decide to go further on, delving deeper, where there live tiger, elephant, otter, tapir, deer, bear, and monkey. Edrin and Nazmi use fast-action rods and light 20-pound line. This gives the fish a better chance and makes it all the more sporting. This particular line is essential to avoid it snapping when the hooked fish dives behind rocks, branches, or roots. Edrin has hooked his first fish. He tries to prevent it from going under the boat. It's a toman, a carnivorous fish that eats everything in its path. You'd be wise to avoid leaving your fingers or toes in its path.
Saya selalu kena je toman. This is the Malaysian giant snakehead, toman.
With its long body and serpent-like head, it bears the appropriate name of snakehead. This particular one weighs approximately 1 kilo. Now it's Nazmi's turn. He's hooked a silver-plated fish that fights like a true devil. It's a hampala of the Cyprinidae family. The Malaysians call it sebarao. One can recognize it by its vertical black stripe under the dorsal fin. It essentially feeds on small fish, but also insects, worms, and shrimp. The largest can reach 4 kilos or more. The sebarao may not be the largest Malaysian fish, but it's certainly one of the most difficult to catch.
This is a strong fish, powerful. Powerful mouth. See it? Powerful jaw. Toothless. Toothless, but very strong. The jaw is very strong. It can crush hooks, treble hooks. No problem.
Edrin and Nazmi each hook a sebarao. Obviously, a group has chosen to live in this bend of the river. They have to release the smaller ones. Just seconds after taking the last sebarao out of the water, Nazmi's rod begins to whistle and tautens to breaking point. The fish plunges to the bottom of the riverbed, trying to free itself by breaking the line on the roots and rocks. Nazmi must reel it in quickly if he's to avoid losing it.
Big fish here, big fish.
Nazmi has hooked a good-sized toman, which he reels with great dexterity into the landing net held by Edrin. This carnivorous freshwater monster can reach up to 20 kilos and 1 meter in length.
You can check out the teeth.
He snaps fiercely at dead fish and lures, but only when he's hungry or angry. More and more sport anglers come to Asia to measure up against this monster. One can fish up to 300 different species in Kenyir Lake and the rivers that feed it. In addition to the toman and sebarao, there are giant catfish, guramis, belidas, carp, and Malaysian pike. After one last toman, our two anglers decide to join the rest of the team.
What did you catch today, Edrin? Oh, the catch was very good. We have a lot of sebaraos here, then toman. For today, we tried bait casting with artificial baits, red heads, which is the most effective bait in Kenyir. They call it Ultraman bait. As you can see, this is brand new, and I have a few marks from toman here. Few toman marks, and this one too. You can see the teeth marks on the toman. This is the latest that I test. This shallow runner shed wrap. This mackerel color. It's beautiful, and it catch a lot of fish. The first toman I caught, the small one, was using this one. You can practice a lot of techniques here in Kenyir Lake, and the other thing, we have huge place, huge location to do fishing here. It's very difficult to catch kela, and the thumb rule is to be quiet, no noise at all, and then do not move around from one bank to another bank. Do not create any movements, you see. And third is to wear dark colors your clothing. Especially when you're by the rocks, you have to camouflage yourself to the background. This is the prime bait here. It's the palm seed. This is very effective on kela. The best place to catch kela is upstream, and you need a clear, deep water. And I got here with me, which my friend over there caught this one while we were busy casting. a small specimen of kelah, Thor tambroides, Malaysian kelah. Woo!
Game fishing is relatively new to the Malaysian coasts. The boats are generally old, traditional fishing boats converted for the purpose. As in Kenyir, Edrin and his friends Nazmi and Rahim are once again our guides. They generally fish in the waters around Redang Island.
Fishing in these waters need a lot of knowledge and experience. If you know good spots and techniques from other parts of Malaysia, it's different. It's totally different in Redang Island.
There are few large fish in the South China Sea. The continental shelf drop-off is far from the coast and it would take several days to reach it. But you can still find a large variety of medium-sized fish. Amongst them, the aggressive black marlin, which weighs between 40 and 150 kilos, and the sailfish, which weighs from 20 to 60 kilos. There are also numerous schools of dolphins, giant trevally, as well as barracuda, wahoo, tuna, and snappers.
Garfish. This fish is called amberjack. Nice eating fish. Fishes in Malaysia are difficult to catch. They are so smart. Even some international anglers did come over with their tackles, with high-tech stuff, but they still haven't get the right fish. They did see some fish, you know, the fish they want, like marlin, playing around, and they tried and tried, they give up. It's a real challenge here.
A dolphin fish, what the Malaysians call a dorado, is one of the most colourful pelagic fish. An impressive swimmer, it can reach 80 kilometres an hour and weigh up to 20 kilos. It feeds on flying fish and cuttlefish. Edrin has hooked a female. They are easily differentiated from the males by their rounder heads.
Dorado! This is Redang Island Dorado. Excellent eating fish. Good to make fish and chips. My favorite fish, that definitely should be marlin. Black marlins.
Why?
Of all. Besides of giant trevally, GTs or tunas. Because marlin, they are really different with other fish. Compared to tunas have stamina, they are powerful. But marlins, they have character. Sometimes the younger one fight stronger than the 50 kilos or upwards. They give you one hell of a time. Longer fight. And once you bring up the fish, oh, it's just a small fish. So that's why people hunt marlin around the world. Just to know what's the difference.
The South China Sea is a passage between the Pacific and the Indian Ocean for the migration of black marlin. One often finds them around the islands or in the faults near the coast. One can catch them by trawling with live bait or lures. In Malaysia, like other billfish, they are protected and generally released.
The marlin hit my bait and my balloon burst. And all hell was loose because everyone was unprepared. You know, everybody was sleeping, waiting for 3 hours, no action. And then suddenly this loud screech come out from my reel. I estimated it was a big fish, but it just take half an hour to 45 minutes. Even though I was using 25-pound line, I make sure I had a lot of line, 1,000 meter to 700 meters of line in my reel, just to make sure there's a lot of line. I was using a big reel but lighter line. So it didn't do not much of leaping, but a lot of diving, underwater diving. It goes straight underneath bottom and comes out for a while, leap, and then go a few more runs underneath. Okay, when it came quite close to the boat, we did saw the intestine come out from the mouth. So this is bad. This is bad when you do marlin fishing with live baiting, because sometimes it will hook. It will take the bait and swallow it, and you miscount on striking your rod. So I wasn't using any circle hook at that time, which is good for just it will hook exactly around the marlin's mouth. I wasn't using that hook. I was using those normal live bait hooks, gorilla hooks. So we decided not to bring up the marlin because it was so sad to see that marlin have to fight, to struggle, to get away from the line. We just cut the line. Put in the intestine back to its mouth, put in, start to revive it. The boat moves slower, starts to move, so make sure it gets some air to revive and water, and then it starts to move its tail, like struggling. Okay, that's a good sign that the marlin will survive, and not much of damage, just the intestine is in, everything is okay, it looks fine, and the tail is moving very strong. So after that, we just leave it, and it swim very fast. So that was the greatest moment to release a marlin.
Before leaving Malaysia, we were able to experience a final fishing adventure that was truly memorable. There was once a boat on the open sea in the beautiful dead of night. In spite of the late hour, the atmosphere on board was very relaxed. There once were fish and squid, attracted by the shimmering lights. There were once fishermen who loved fishing at night.
My name is Mustafa. I come from the village of Penarek in the state of Terengganu. I've been fishing for 5 years using a large circular net called a pukat jerut. We fish at night because our lights attract many squid and fish. Some are very big. When I think of the past 5 years, fishing is much better at night than during the day. Of course, night fishing is not without its danger. You're not always sheltered from the brutal changes of weather. You can find yourself on the open sea in the middle of the night with no visibility and big waves. But when the moon is out, usually all is well and the fishing is good. My favorite moment is when we throw the nets out and with the flickering light on the last float, we realize we have a large quantity of fish. We work harder and everyone shouts with joy. We all know by then that we've had a good day.
It is 1 o'clock in the morning. After 5 hours of attracting the fish to the lights, 2 floats are launched, equipped with several lamps. The boat lights are turned off in order to regroup the fish around the smaller boat so that the net can be placed. Then the main boat lights are turned on again to balance the density of the fish on either side of the net. Already, the fishermen start to draw it in. There once was a boat with its hold filled by tireless fishermen with tuna, mackerel, trevally, sole and cobia. Like every Malaysian on the archipelago, the 3 million professional, seasonal or sport fishermen share a close and impassioned relationship with the rivers, the sea and marine life.